Thor as Optimus? Let's check it out. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Buddies and Blockbuster. I'm your host, AJ. We are here to review TransformersOne. This is the anime movie that's come out with a stellar cast. And right off the bat, I've got to say, I'm a huge Transformers fan. I've been a fan from my childhood back in the day. I used to watch the series, also followed the so-called movies that came out. I'm not going to bash it. I'm talking about the Michael Bay movie. Right from the first part, which gave us a live action feel, I've never been a fan of anything else, but always a fan about the storyline. Always loved battle between Optimus and Megatron. As you can see, I'm repping my Decepticon T. By no means am I a Megatron fan. I'm always a Prime, but the T looks badass. As for Transformers One, I think this movie provides a new kind of look for folks who do not know much about the franchise, because what we have seen over the past couple of years is you have Autobots, Decepticons, they're added against each other. Optimus fights Megatron, Megatron hates Optimus, and it's just the same piece. This takes you back in time to showcase the roots of how Optimus, or Orion Pax, he's called Orion Pax in the movie, before Optimus became so-called leader of the Autobots, the so-called optimistic person that we always look up to. He was just like you and I, just like a kind of a rookie underdog who's also known to be Orion Pax. We have Megatron, who was D16, in the same kind of bucket where he was not that bad and evil, and the two of them were best friends, but they were kind of brothers in arms. And this movie kind of showcases that journey, how the two of them turn into the biggest, the baddest enemies of them all. In terms of the cast, ChrisHemsworth plays Optimus Prime or Orion Pax, Brian Henry playing D16 Megatron. You have ScarlettJohansson as Alita. Keegan-Michael Key is Bumblebee. There's a bunch of other folks playing a lot of characters, which I don't want to spoil. It was pretty cool to see, different actors playing those iconic roles. But in terms of the story, guys, as I mentioned, this movie showcases how Orion Pax and D16 are basically nobody. They're minors. It showcases how Cybertron is losing their energon. So we have minors digging through, doing a lot of work and getting these energons, because most of the primes, as we know, the OG primes who are actual leaders, it's because of them they had energon. And energon is kind of the source that drives Cybertron for the most part, right? And there's also a matrix of leadership who possesses leadership qualities. That's showcased, and it's so good to see that, because we're not used to seeing the original primes. We've always been accustomed to Optimus Prime being the leader of them all. We did get Sentinel Prime in a couple of other Transformers movies, but this literally showcases all the other folks. But the main focal point of this movie is Orion Pax and D16. Friendship, it's the bond. They both are kind of nobodies, but they want to be noticed, especially Orion Pax. And I think this is why I love Optimus, is because of the hope that he has, that there is something out there that needs to be done to save his planet, or he can be something more than just a regular miner. And you kind of root for the guy. He's a true underdog, and it's so surprising to see that, and the way how they showcase it, because we're so used to, Optimus Prime, he's the leader and everybody looks up to him. But let's pull back the curtains a bit, because he was not that way back in the day, and it took a lot and a great deal of effort to get to where he was. And that tone of the movie, it's the hope and the optimism that Orion Pax has, which leads him to a lot of good stuff. But on the other hand, you also feel really good to see the bond between D16 and Orion Pax, because they always had their backs. They used to work together. No matter the odds, they had each other's back. And that's kind of symbolized and showcased. The one thing that this movie does really well, and I hope that other movies or other franchises, like, as you can see, I'm a Marvel fan, right? But the one thing that they do always in these emotional or like serious tone, what do? They usually put in a joke and they spoil that moment that the characters have. In this movie, it showcases that when it's a serious or an emotional kind of scene between two characters, you leave it as is. You need to realize the gravity of the situation, not put in lame jokes just to keep it too PG. They do a perfect job in keeping it real. Yes, there's a lot of joke, comedic essence, and that's where Keegan-Michael Key as B steps in. I consider him to be, just picture Deadpool and B together, because he keeps talking. It's just nonstop. And this before he loses his voice. The amount of talking that B does, and he always has these puns, and he also refers to him as Badassatron. It was a good time, and you might feel sometimes it's a bit too much, but I went with it. And keep in mind, when I talk about these minors, the reason why they're minors is because they can't transform. They're a batch of folks that doesn't have the ability to transform just like the other folks. Whoever can transform, they're minors. They're doing the grunt work and getting a lot of energon to feed in through Cybertron. And that's where Orion Pax is like, this more to this. I mean, this can't be my job or my role in this life. I need to do more, and there's something calling to me. And they go on to this adventure of finding that key, and everybody is after the matrix of leadership. Because once anybody gets it, the whole of Cybertron gets the energon. And that's the key, let's say, goal of this movie, is to ensure that we get matrix of leadership. I'm not gonna spoil about what the baddie is in this piece. That's something that you guys need to watch. That journey from showcasing the bond between the two of them, you can see in the trailer, all the way to getting this power to transform and live the underdog story, is super good. There is a climax component here where it leads up to this huge battle. You could see the tensions boiling between D16 and Orion Pax. As and when they get these powers, things start to change. And you could feel the tension, you could feel the change, and you could see the distance between the two of them. And it is a bit emotional. And the climax scene, there are a couple of moments in the movie where I went on a weekday. It was not a packed theater, but there's a couple of folks, but there's these moments where we all cheered in the theater. Whistled, we howled, because it was that awesome. Because we're true fans of Optimus, and this franchise is so good. And I feel they had that click of getting those moments together. So I would say it was a good time. I think the animation was great. The storyline between the two of them was awesome. I was definitely a bit hesitant around the voice, because I am so inclined to the OG voice of Peter Cullen. And to see that change, I was a bit concerned, but I think we all root for Orion Pax, because I think Chris Hemsworth has done a good job in doing it in his own way, and it clicks, it works, because at the end of the day, he's an underdog and we want him to succeed. The main piece here is Optimus is always optimistic and shows that hope. So that story was great, and this is kind of leading up to a sequel. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that, and I'm excited to see more in this franchise, because I think they did a great job from an anime perspective. I wish they did something like this in live action, but I'm not going to keep any hopes with that, because I've seen what they've done. It's a good time to go out. Just want to have fun with your kids and get them exposure to the Transformer franchise. Be sure to check it out in theaters. I think this is more around the 3.5 range for me. Definitely optimistic, just like Optimus Prime, for the sequel. Aside from that, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and share.